Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. And we're going to talk a little bit about Destiny today, actually. Today we're going to be giving you guys my thoughts on the Sparrow Racing League, the SRL, that was recently introduced into Destiny for a limited time, much like the Iron Banner and other events. It's only going to come every now and then. It looks like it's going to be ending at the end of the December. We'll be heading into the new year. Destiny and Bungie have sort of announced their new content release schedule, the way they're going to be doing things. You're going to be seeing lots of free, smaller content updates for people who have the Taken King. And in fact, in order to play the Sparrow Racing League, you need to have the Taken King. So it seems that Bungie is holding true to their release of free content events, but it only works if you have the Taken King. Luckily, if you're just picking up Destiny now, you can grab the entire game with the Taken King on top of it for the price of what the base game used to cost. But that's that. Let's move on and talk about the Sparrow Racing League, because I think the SRL is something that kind of really helps continue to identify the fact that Bungie is very much listening to the community. You look at Destiny, and at launch, it was really a shell of a game, and in a lot of ways, some could argue that it still is, but there is no doubt that Bungie is listening to the community, looking to make improvements and add features that have been long wanted and requested by the community. Hands up, a big shout out, or however you want to say it, to the dudes over at the Destiny Reddit, because they have been demanding Sparrow Racing for a very long time, and it looks like we've finally gotten it. Now, the SRL very much takes its inspiration from pod racing, I would say. There's just that sort of vibe to it. You've got enemies on the different planets that you're racing on actually shooting at you, much like the Tusken Raiders in the Star Wars films. Really, the main focus of the core racing experience revolves around passing through boost gates in order to maintain a high top speed, in order to pass other players and get to the finish line first. Now, you wouldn't think, and I didn't think going into this, that this could have any sort of really heavily skill-based thing outside of just running through the gates. I thought it was going to be, oh, you know, just avoid the objects, run through the gates, and win. And of course, that is a very sound strategy. But there is an element of Sparrow control that is necessary in order to be victorious. Understanding how to use the strafe abilities on your Sparrow, understanding that you shouldn't just hold down the right trigger all the time. So let me throw a few quick tips the way for you guys who are looking to get into the SRL and start to win. I mean, first and foremost, those gates are key, obviously. Not crashing is also a big part of that, but really one of the things that I noticed that I saw a lot of people doing is, again, not making use of the brake, or at least not letting off the throttle in the corners. Much like a racing game, it is actually quicker to slow down or to lock up the brakes, to set yourself up for the turn, and then to accelerate out of the turn, rather than just barreling on in, going wide. You're going to lose a ton of residual forward momentum. You might even smash into the side of one of the walls on the map, and that is definitely going to slow you down a lot more than had if you just tapped the brakes for a second. Honestly, that was super noticeable. And I would say that anybody who plays racing games, you know, just the sort of mentality you have as someone who plays racing games is going to benefit you here, understanding lines and situations, and it's going to help put you in first place. What I also found, though, on top of it, was because of the way that the maps are designed and because of the use of the boost gates, there were some crazy comebacks that happened when I was playing. These are two of the earlier races that I did that you guys are seeing, but they were two of the most fun races I had. The first race, I kept hitting the A button because I have bumpers on the back of my Elite controller, and that caused me to continuously dismount, yet I still managed to come in like third place or something like that. I almost had first, in fact, if I had not dismounted yet again towards the end. The second race saw me in the lead for practically the entire race, but there was someone who was chasing my tail. He was there every second. I made just a few small errors, and he was able to catch up. This is racing. This is what racing is about. This is how racing should be portrayed in any racing game, and I love that Bungie was able to capture that inside of Destiny with Sparrow Racing. I never thought it would be something that could be looked at in such a serious and skilled light. I always thought it was just going to be sort of a casual mash down the right trigger, utter disaster and mess, but that is not the case. Sparrow Racing is pretty damn awesome. If you're an active Destiny player, it's a great addition to have around. There's even an entire set of custom gear that you can get. You actually have Sparrow Racing gear that's going to give you benefits and bonuses to you driving in a Sparrow. The gear also looks wicked awesome. It has a bunch of different tiers. There's a whole set of quests to unlock different class Sparrows. They really didn't just kind of shoehorn this in. They thought about it and they did a hell of a good job with it. Like I said, if you're a Destiny player, it's something I strongly recommend checking out. Now, I did want to talk briefly a little bit more about their future plans for Destiny going into next year. The Sparrow Racing League is just one event of what they're saying is going to be many moving into early next year. And then it seems like that's probably going to be it, and we may just see Destiny 2 next year. So really what I wanted to ask from those of you Destiny players, the big Destiny fans out there, you guys, is what do you think about this? You know, has Bungie sort of delivered on what they talked about with the introduction of microtransactions and free content? Are these events the types of things that you're looking forward to seeing for free? Or were you actually looking forward to seeing real content? Because it very much seems like we're going to get a bunch of these more event-based things. In fact, they mentioned that there's going to be one about the same size as the holiday event, the Halloween event. And then they said there's going to be one that's going to be a lot larger. And then it looks like we'll be paying for Destiny 2. I, for one, am extremely interested to see if we do have a Destiny 2 announced next year, just how is it going to be presented, what is going to go on with it. Like, it seems like they were struggling enough to create content throughout the course of this year, let alone going and launching an entire another game. Now, I understand Activision has a lot of studios under its belt. Who knows what's happening outside of Bungie, if there's other studios being brought into the mix. I think there is, as always with Destiny, a lot of unanswered questions that I'm very much looking forward to getting the answers for. Really, I want to hear the thoughts that you guys have, the hardcore Destiny players, the people who are still playing, the people who have put the game down like myself. Honestly, there's a reason you haven't seen Destiny content on the channel. There's nothing there for me right now. You know, I'm not interested in grinding for gear that I don't have. I want actual substantial content. Once I ran the raid, that was kind of it for me. I'm not someone who gets super stoked on the idea of continuously running the raid over and over, especially when there are so many other great games out there right now that I could be playing that are, you know, appealing to certain interests that I have. I've got the multiplayer for Call of Duty. Honestly, I just feel multiplayer in Call of Duty is far more enjoyable to play with my brother than PvP, the Crucible, and Destiny could ever be. I've got a lot of great single-player games I'm playing. I've got Halo right now. There's just other things that are offering me with a huge amount of fresh content, while Destiny is over there asking me to sort of rinse and repeat. Sparrow Racing League, definitely a nice addition for the holidays. I think it's going to be a great way to close out the year, but something, honestly, that I'm not all that interested in, simply because I don't know where Destiny's going next. To me, there's not really a strive or a hunger to earn that gear inside of the Sparrow Racing League now, to unlock the new Sparrows and so on and so forth. I'm just not in the game. If I was, I'm sure that interest would be there, as it is for many of you, I am sure. If you guys have any other thoughts regarding the recent introduction of the level boost microtransaction, for those of you who did not know about that, you can actually boost your character to level 25 for a cost, I believe it's $25 now, something that Bungie said they weren't going to do, but they did anyways. Honestly, that doesn't bother me as much as some people might think. I know there's this big concern that people won't learn their characters and so on and so forth, but Destiny really does follow the sort of traditional MMO formula in a lot of smaller places, more places than people care to recognize or to admit. So the concept of someone paying for a character boost, which is something that is very relevant and prevalent in modern MMOs, doesn't really bother me. It's like, whatever, if someone wants to boost a character, an additional character perhaps, at the cost of money because it's easier than just playing through the game, go ahead. Although I find that to be crazy considering how short the time it takes to finish the story to get to level 25 is. You're talking maybe 5 or 6 hours. That's like playing a half an hour every day for like 2 weeks. That's really not a huge deal. But if you have more money than time, I guess that works for you. Let me know your thoughts on it. Anything else you're thinking about regarding Destiny, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. Hopefully January 2016 will bring some awesome stuff and we can get back into the game. But like I said, for right now, there's other things to be played. There's other things to cover on the channel. That's just how it's going to go. Stay safe out there, race fast, race safe, watch your corners. I'll see you in the next one.